That's indeed a great gesture, I would say. I am Saraswati, Secretary General of the Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I am with the Chamber for the last 13 plus years. And the Chamber is 187 years young Chamber, started in 1836, obviously as a British Chamber. But today, we still stay relevant, and that's what we call the sustainability of probably the Chamber as well as any organization. Because during our 175th year, when we launched many new initiatives, we are really looking around to see how many organizations world over had been, especially the Chamber of Commerce or trade promotion organization, which have been there for so long, and we could find very, very few of them all over the world. And as far as the nation is concerned, we are the second oldest, next only to the Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is just 1 week ahead of us. So we say in age, probably 1 week doesn't matter. So in that sense, probably we could say that we are twins, and we are the oldest chamber in southern India and obviously in Tamil Nadu. We have around 13 expert committees and 4 working groups and a women business council, and all of them are extremely active and act as our think tanks for the chamber as a whole. We have a general committee, and these committees ably support the general committee as well. So this particular event is being organized under the HRIR committee and the education committee together. See, Mr. Shyam Sundar is here. He is the chair of our HRIR committee. The co-chair couldn't join today. And Professor Sridhar is there. He is the chairperson of our education committee. And I should say this program, probably you would have all seen the entire schedule. This program would have almost been curated, designed for the last 4 months, and thanks to the entire committee which worked behind it, both the committees. And today we are seeing the fruit of that. So I would stop here and request Mr. Shyam Sundar to welcome the delegates and the guests here. And before that, let me request all of you to put your mobile phones on silent mode. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Good morning to Mr. Simpson, Mr. Rajendran. On behalf of HRIR Subcommittee and the Education Subcommittee of MCCI, I welcome you, sirs, for this event. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and be the chief guest for the day, and also give a special address, Mr. Rajendran. The theme on staying ahead of the curve, I think Mr. Rajendran has already demonstrated it by coming in the traditional, Indian traditional attire. So that itself shows that the theme of today is going to be a grand success, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot of value addition from all the speakers today. I welcome you all for this event, and I thank your companies for sponsoring you for this particular event, nominating you. I can assure you that definitely the value addition from today and tomorrow's session is going to be immense to you. When we spoke about this theme, Madam said we have been working hard for it. Literally, we spoke probably in the month of March, but then it went lie-low. And suddenly we woke up, and then in the month of May, mid-May, we said that we should definitely do a conclave, and it should be contemporary in today's context. So that's how this theme came up. We deliberated, and we met, both the committees met, and we finalized on the theme and the sub-themes. To be one of the change, or the idea, the way doing things, something differently, and so that others follow. That is what we could probably call it as stay ahead of the curve, and which means that to continue to innovate. And you all know that Zoho has been continuously innovating. And it's a pleasure to have Mr. Rajendran Dandapani here to talk about the theme on staying ahead of the curve. He is the right person to be here. And similarly, Mr. Simpson is a CEO of our organization. So any leader to sustain and be more focused in the business, one has to keep encouraging and develop the culture of innovation in the organization. I think Mr. Simpson is doing that in his organization. And so he is also the right person to be addressing the gathering. To stay ahead of the curve, one has to focus more on the, definitely the customer. The customer is very, very important for all our business. So definitely we need to focus on the customer. And we have to, one should not compromise on the professionalism. Just because we need to innovate, we can't do things on our own way. We need to have ethics, morals, and focus on and maintain the professionalism so that we are able to meet the requirements of the current days and the future days of the business. And innovation is a necessity today, and it is not a luxury. It used to be a luxury, though certain people used to do it, but in today's context, everybody, in any role for that matter, you need to be innovative, and you need to focus on, and at the same time, you need to be flexible and adaptable. There is a lot of contradiction when we say innovative, and at the same time, if you say you need to be flexible and adaptable, it is going to be a paradigm. But still, in today's context, one has to be flexible and adaptable to the requirements and the market conditions. And again, one has to be aware of the market, business friends. So as an HR, the changes has already started happening, and every organization is looking for HR person, not only on the competency or the capability from the HR domain, but also on the business front. So the requirement of an involvement and commitment towards business and advising the business leader, supporting the business leader is very, very required. And again, that is a very important aspect that one has to keep in mind. And of course, to stay ahead in business, ahead of the curve, the organization need to develop and enhance the capability of the human resources. So that is also a very important aspect, and that is why you people are here, and it's going to be 2 wonderful days, and I wish you all the happy learning, and it's my job to introduce the special address by Mr. Rajendran Dandapani. He is the president of Zoho School of Learning. Rajendran is one of the founding team at Zoho Corporation, then called Wembu Systems. Later, he spent years at Zexuro, Asia's largest new age marketing entity, as a chief algorithmic officer, managing projects and services from the client, including Citibank and SIFI. In Zoho, he spearheads mobile development at Zoho with a multi-talented team that builds mobile application for 80 million customers. Avdiya, okay. Romba pesa vanangararu.
Namaste. The idea is to stay ahead of the curve, and my wearing of the dhoti was pointed out as being ahead of the curve. I was worrying if it was behind the curve, really, because we haven't kept up with the times. I'm happy you're recognizing that as staying ahead. The single word that I would like to bring to focus as a kick-starting moment for your 2-day event is the forever skill. Indriyamaya அப்படிங்கிற அந்த வேர்ட் இருக்கு இல்லையா, without it nothing is possible. I would like to make a small change to it and ask you, இன்று அமையா, fine, but நாளையும் will it still be relevant is the question. Because some of us here are old enough to understand what this is. Yeah? இது கோழிக்கு இருக்கிற handwriting இல்லை, இது வந்து shorthand. But when I saw this first in my grandpa's box and opened it up, I asked my dad, what has he written? Is it some secret love letter he has written to that woman across the street? And my dad explained to me, no, it's called Pittman Gregg's shorthand. People used to do something like this to quickly, a stenographer to write stuff when it's spoken live. But quaint, interesting, and probably relevant at that time. But unfortunately, while researching for today's topic, I came across this page. This is the question paper. Special attention should be given to accuracy and neatness. The answer is given. There is no question here. The answer is given. You have to type that out without mistakes onto a printed paper. The challenge is that. கொடுத்துருக்கிறத corrections include பண்ணி type it out. That's all. And I was wondering, is this a relevant skill? FYI, look at the time stamp. It is February 2023. Just 3 months old. People still run such rackets. In the age of Chat GPT, this still happens. People pay money to hoping that they will get a job if they pass high speed, higher typing. சாப்பிட்டு போயிடும். Robots will come, take your job away. And at that time, I was thinking, there is this guy, grocery shop owner, who does probably supply chain management, who does customer loyalty programs himself, who manages kadan, baki, masakanakku, who does much of his work mentally, who decides which chocolate to place up front so that the little kid who comes along with mom sees at eye level that particular chocolate and asks for it, and mom can't say no. That man, the challenges he faces are pretty different from the challenge these people face. Time zone difference, office, home, work from co-working spaces, co-located spaces, managing people who work from home, managing people while working from home. Lot of interesting challenges. So, what skills are really needed? What is it that we as professionals who expand the organization in the future, what should we look for when people come in? And having come in, what should we train them in to make them go on to the next level? I introduced this book. This is a great book I read recently by two researchers in Australia, Kieran Flanagan and Dan Gregory. Forever Skills. The 12 skills to future-proof yourself, your team and your kids. அப்படினு அதோட title. This guy is Jeff Bezos, and one thing he famously said during one of the interviews that he was being asked questions was, hey, what is changing? What are the new things? இப்போ இந்த challenge வந்திருக்கே, இதை எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ண போறீங்க? இப்போ இது மாத்தணுமே. Our company has to respond to this new change that has come. How are you going to change what needs changing? அப்படின்லாம் obsess பண்றோமே. What you don't obsess about, unfortunately, and thankfully for me at Amazon, what you all don't bother is my secret sauce. He said, I am going to obsess about what's unchanging. What are the 3 things that will not change at all? Whatever happens in the world, you will always want variety. ஒரு விஷயம் வாங்க போனீங்கன்னா அதில் 15 ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்காங்கிறது தான் பார்ப்போம். You will always want fast delivery. இன்னைக்கு ஆர்டர் பண்ணுறேன், நேற்றே கிடச்சிருமான்னு கேட்க ஆரம்பிப்பாங்க கொஞ்ச நாளில். And probably you will always want lower cost. சார் என்ன சார் இவ்வளோ கம்மியாக விலை சொல்கிறீங்க, கொஞ்சம் ஏற்றி சொல்லுங்கள் சார், சொல்லவே மாட்டோம். So these are the 3 challenges I see. 100 years from now, they wouldn't have changed. And I am aligning my company to these forever unchanging precepts and concepts. So this book, the 12 forever skills, what are those 12 skills? That's what we're going to see. ஒரே ஒரு சின்ன விஷயம், நம்ம நிறைய சின்ன வயசில் படித்த கதைகளை பேஸ் பண்ணி I am going to throw those 12 skills at you. அதை வந்து மூணாக பிரிக்கிறாங்க. க்ரியேட்டிவிட்டி, கம்யூனிகேஷன் அண்ட் கண்ட்ரோல். க்ரியேட்டிவிட்டிங்கிறது அந்த அவுட் ஆஃப் பாக்ஸ் திங்கிங், நிறைய பேசியிருக்கோம். கம்யூனிகேஷனுங்கிறது தி ஆர்ட் ஆஃப் பர்சுவேஷன். அது லெவல் பியர் டு பியர் கம்யூனிகேஷனாக இருக்கலாம், மேனேஜர் டு ஜூனியர்ஸாக இருக்கலாம், கஸ்டமர்ஸ் எம்ப்ளாயீஸ் டு கஸ்டமர்ஸாக இருக்கலாம். பட் கம்யூனிகேஷன் அண்ட் கண்ட்ரோல், எது நம்ம கைவசம் இருக்குது, எது இஸ் ப்ராபப்ளி பியாண்ட் அவர் கண்ட்ரோல், ஹவு டு பி accustomed and compromised with that. The first skill is insight. அந்த creativity கேட்டகரியில் வருது. இந்த கதை எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியும். Why is this crow sung such praise of? அப்படின்னா, it has observed its neighborhood. It has seen a pot full of water, not full unfortunately, only half full of water. It has seen rocks. It recalls from memory that rocks probably raise the level of water. It recalls that the head should be at the level of water. Unfortunately, the head can't reach in. Can the water reach up? These are the connections it makes. Inniki we are drowning in data. Everywhere around us there is so much data being generated. ஒரு காலத்துல இந்த பத்தி டேட்டா இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும்னு நினைச்சிட்டு இருந்தவங்க இருக்காங்க. இன்னைக்கு எதை பத்தி உனக்கு வேணும் சொல்லு, ஐ வில் கிவ் யூ மில்லியன் டேட்டா பாயிண்ட்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. ஸோ த சேலஞ்ச் இஸ் மூவ் அவே ஃப்ரம் டேட்டா, மூவ் டுவர்ட்ஸ் இன்சைட்ஃபுல் விஸ்டம். இஃப் யூ கேன் ஜெனரேட் இன்சைட்ஸ், தட் இஸ் வாட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு டிஃபரன்ஷியேட் யூ ஃப்ரம் தட். ஒரு நியூ மங்கி ஒன்று வந்திருக்குங்க எங்கே பார்த்தாலும். அந்த மங்கிக்கு பேர் டேட்டா சயின்டிஸ்ட். ஓகே, நீங்களும் கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இந்த மங்கி கிட்டங்களே நீங்கள் தப்பிச்சுக்கணும்னா you need to crack this insightfulness. The second creativity skill is conversion. Most of us, probably because of our education system, we get straitjacketed into one kind of education. ஒரு காலத்துல சயின்ஸ்னு படிப்போம், and then later it became physics or biology, and then biology it became botany, zoology. It starts ஒரு ஃபைன் டூத் கோம் வச்சு சீவி வெட்டி தூள் தூளா போட்டு ஐ ஆம் an expert at one very narrow. You go to a ear specialist, he asks which ear, எந்த காதுன்னு கேட்குறான். காது ஸ்பெஷலிஸ்ட்க்கு போகிறோம்னு நினச்சி போனா. So that is the problem we face. And what is the real reason that it is a problem? People fail to translate. அந்த கன்வர்ஷன் அப்படிம்பாங்க. Why did the fox win the day? இது வேற crow. It's not the previous story's crow. The fox won the day here because the fox understands mouth is not just for eating, mouth is for singing too. How many of us have that kind of thought process? What we have in front of us, the tool, the object, the team, the market, the competition, what are their core reasons they exist? Can they do something else too? அப்படிங்கிற அந்த கன்வர்ஷன் அண்ட் டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். கல்டிவேட் திஸ் ஸ்கில், திஸ் வில் ஃபார் எவர் பி யூஸ்ஃபுல் ஃபார் யூ அப்படிங்கிறான். த தேர்ட் இஸ் ப்ராப்ளம் சால்விங். இந்த கழுதை ஒன்று வந்து இட் வில் பி டேக்கிங் உப்பு மூட்டை, அண்ட் எவ்ரி டைம் இட் கிராசஸ் த ரிவர் தடுக்கி விழுற மாதிரி ஏமாத்தும். ஏன்னா உப்பு கரைஞ்சு போயிடும் தண்ணியில். இட்ஸ் லோட் வில் கோ டவுன். திஸ் மேன் அப்சர்வ்ஸ் த டாங்கி அண்ட் சேஸ், okay, I'll teach you a lesson. The next time, ஞாபகம் இருக்கா கதை? பஞ்சு மூட்டை வைப்பார் அவர். The lesson I take from that for problem solving is two lessons actually. One, don't change everything. வா நீ இந்த ரோடு வழியா போற, இந்த இடத்துல நீ தடுக்கி விழுவ, நான் இந்த ரோட்லயே உன்னை கூட்டு போல மலையை சுத்தி கூட்டு போறேன்னு பண்ணலாம். He observed and he made everything. He changed only one variable at a time. That skill we don't have. Most of us, when we are faced with a problem, we try 4 different things. 4 டயலை திருகிட்டு பிக்சர் நல்லா இருக்கான்னு, அந்த காலத்தில் டிவி பிக்சர் நல்லா இருக்கான்னு அப்படி தான் பார்ப்பாங்க. ராங். Change one variable at a time and make micro changes and observe the response. ஒரு தப்பு பண்ணிட்ட, அந்த தப்புலேருந்து you have to come out in an agile manner, which is the 4th creativity skill. இந்த கதையும் ஞாபகம் இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். முதல்ல கதை இது. ஒரு ஷார்க்காகவும் ஒரு கதை இருக்கு. ஸோ திஸ் கோஸ் ஆன் ஃபார் அ ரைட் அண்ட் ஹாஃப் வே அக்ராஸ் த ரிவர் த திங் டெல்ஸ் த crocodile or the shark tells the monkey, I am going to cook your heart and eat it அப்படின்னு. agile thinking, thinking on the go, thinking with insufficient data. நல்ல டேட்டா கையில் இருந்ததுன்னா நல்ல டெசிஷன் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு நீங்க தேவையில்லைங்க, சாட் ஜிபிடியே எடுத்துரும் உங்களுக்கு. How do you go ahead and take a decision with 70% of the minimum required data? That is where human intuition comes in, and that you need to train yourself in, your people in. Instantly it says, ஐயோ முன்னாடியே சொல்லியிருக்கலாமே, நான் இப்போதான் அதை தோச்சு உணர போட்டிருக்கேன், நீ வா மரத்துலேருந்து எடுத்துட்டு வரலாம் அப்படிங்க. That on the feet thinking இருக்கு பாருங்க, forever skill. You will always benefit from that. Then we move to communication. எத்தனை கதைகள், I'm not looking at one story. How many stories begin like this? ஒரு ஊர்ல ஒரு குகையில ஒரு சிங்கம் இருந்தது. அந்த சிங்கத்துக்கு பக்கத்துல ஒரு நரி இருக்கும். The nari is 1/10 the size of the lion, probably 100 the strength, and typically courage wise the fox doesn't even feature in the list. The courage of a lion oda compare panna. But why do scenes like this happen? There are stories where the fox is the minister. There are stories where the fox gives the key advice to the lion. Hey, do it like this. And of course, there are stories where the fox leads the lion to a trap. Power of persuasion. How can you hold an audience? It could be 100 people. It could be a round table. It could be a one-on-one. It could be a selling proposition. It could be a buying proposition. It could be an apology. But how do you hold on their attention, and how do you get your message across? That is what we should learn from that persuasive fox. அதே கம்யூனிகேஷன் கேட்டகரியில் ரெண்டாவது ஃபாரெவர் ஸ்கில் வந்து how to build a team. உங்களுக்கு இந்த கதை ஞாபகம் இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இந்த மாடெல்லாம் சேர்ந்து முட்டி சிங்கத்தை துரத்திடும். ஒரு ஃபாக்ஸ் வந்து யூ நீட் டு டிவைட் அண்ட் ரூல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அந்த மாடுகளுக்கு நடுவில் கலகத்தை உண்டு பண்ணும். பிகாஸ் தி ஆக்ஸன் ஆர் ஆல் செப்பரேட்டட், த புல்ஸ் ஆர் ஆல் செப்பரேட்டட், த லயன் வில் பி ஏபிள் டு டேக் ஈச் ஒன் செப்பரேட்லி அப்படின்னு ஸ்டோரி. ஒரே ஒரு ஊரில் மட்டும் ஆஃப்ரிக்காவில் த ஃபோக்லோர், திஸ் ஸ்டோரி இஸ் டோல்ட் இன் த ரிவர்ஸ். I was surprised when I heard that. You know how the story goes there? The story goes that in the village there were a lot of bulls. They were fighting among each other all the time, and the lion used to come, swoop down, take one, run away, another week, another bull, and these guys got together and they said, hey, you are strong. Hey, you are fast running. Hey, you have great eyesight. Why can't we team together as one strange beast which is strong, fast, and has great eyesight? We'll be able to bounce off this lion. அப்படின்னு ஒரு டீம் ஃபார்மேஷன் ஸ்டோரியா இதே கதையை சொல்றாங்க அந்த ஊர்ல. That is what we should learn, and that happens only through communication. உன்னுடைய ஸ்கில், என்னுடைய ஸ்கில், my strength takes care of your weakness, your strength takes care of my weakness, together we can achieve more. அப்படிங்கிற அந்த ஸ்கில் we take away, and that is a forever skill. Trust, நம்பிக்கை இல்லையா, யூ இன்டெகிரிட்டிம்பாங்க. இட்ஸ் நாட் அபவுட் ட்ரூத்ஃபுல்னஸ், உண்மையே சொல்லணும் அப்படி இல்லை, சொன்னதை செய்யணும், செய்யறதை மட்டும்தான் சொல்லணும். தட் மேட்டர், தட் இன்டெகிரிட்டி அப்படிங்கிறது. அண்ட் யூ ரொம்ப தி ஸ்டோரி, என்னடா சொன்னது உன் கரடி, உன் காதில் வந்து என்னடா சொன்னது அப்படின்னு கேட்கும். அதுக்கு அவன் சொல்லுவான், இந்த ஃபேர் வெதர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் நம்பாதீங்கன்னு சொன்னதுரா அப்படிங்கிற கதை ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? I look at that story and I want to appreciate that guy down there who said the truth. அதாவது அவன் விட்டுருக்கலாம், ஒன்றும் இல்லைப்பா விட்டுரு அப்படின்னு. He put himself in a vulnerable position. He probably estranged himself from this guy who is coming down from the tree. But he stood. உண்மையை நான் சொல்வதினால், if I am going to be moved to a vulnerable position, I will still continue to tell the truthங்கிறது ஒரு மேனேஜரும் ஒரு எம்ப்ளாயரும் ஒரு சிஇஓவும் இன்னைக்கு சொல்ல வேண்டிய பிக்கெஸ்ட் நீட் இன் தீஸ். என்ன வேர்ல்டுன்னு சொல்றாங்க, ஊக்காலாம் முடிஞ்சு போச்சு. இப்போ பாணின்னு ஒரு வேர்டு வந்திருக்கு. இப்போ அந்த வேர்ல்டில் யூ மஸ்ட் பி த பீக்கன் ஆஃப் ட்ரூத். People will come to you, people will relate to you, people will understand your story, will expand your story and will make that story their own. அப்பதான் உங்களுக்கு you get that trust and you can face any storm அப்படிங்கிறது வருது. Final aspect of communication is translation. நம்ம பண்றது எல்லாமே ட்ரைனிங் பண்றதோ அல்லது டீச்சிங் பண்றதோ எல்லாரும் நம்ம we are obsessed with information passing on, informing. What we need to do is educating, and to tell that, to convey that education, you need to tell a story, make the bed fertile. And the fertile bedல தான் ஒரு seed விதைச்சா ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா ஸ்ப்ரவுட்டிங் ஆகும். Otherwise that seed will wait. I'll wait for my time அப்படின்னு உட்கார்ந்திருக்கும். இந்த ஸ்டோரியில வந்து நம்மளுக்கு எல்லாம் தெரியும், 6 குருடர்கள் வந்து each person saw the elephant as one as a snake, one as a pillar, one as a muram, one as a rope and so on. But what is the management lesson here அப்படின்னா, எல்லா சிஇஓக்களும் எல்லா சேர்மன்களும் யானையை தான் நம்மளுக்கு கொடுக்குறாங்க. It is us people who look at it and see my department looks at it as pillar pa. I will build a very good pillar pa. I will polish that pillar beautifully pa. It's not even a pillar ங்கிறது புரிஞ்சுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறோம். I am from this department, I will do an amazing job. That is what you see when you move from test match cricket to an IPL game. In the IPL game, you can't say I am a bowler. You can't say I am a batsman. You have to do everything that's needed. Okay, have you seen those catches where 3 people make a catch at the boundary line? One person has already fallen over the boundary line. He is tapping it with his hand. Who gets the credit? If they were credit-loving people, they will probably drop the ball. But match ஜெயிச்சா போறோங்கிற அந்த selflessness வரதுனால தான், when they understand that there is a bigger goal than just pillar, rope and snake, does a team really prosper? And for that, communication is very important. And finally, control. இதில் ஒரு 4 aspects இருக்கு. Yeah. The control aspect is, the first one, self-control. உன்னுடைய boundaries-ஐ புரிஞ்சுக்கோ. In this story, 2 cocks fight. The winning cock makes the mistake of going up on top and saying, I am the winner. 2 second பின்னாடிலேருந்து கழுகு வந்து தூக்கின்னு போயிடும். And who is the winner? The second cock which kept silent. இன்னைக்கு வந்து our security is the world's strongest security ன்னு யாரையாவது தைரியமா வந்து சொல்லுங்க, நடுங்குவான். ஏன்னா ரஷ்யன் ஹேக்கர்ஸ் ஆர் வெயிட்டிங். யாரா அங்க சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கிறது, யார் ரொம்ப கூத்தடிக்கிறது, பிடுறா அவனை, பிட்காயின் ransom போடுறான் அவன் மேல அப்படின்னு வெயிட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Know your limits. Understand there are only 2 kinds of companies. Those who have had security breakdowns and violations already, and those who have had and those who don't know they have had. எல்லாம் போச்சு, இவனுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கு இவனுக்கு தெரியல, அவ்வளவுதான். அந்த தன்னடக்கம் வேணும் அப்படிங்கிறது I see in the control aspect. Resource management, we want to have the world's best employees, we want to have the world's best customers, but you have to do with who you have. The musicians of Bremen or Kaderg, these 4 animals, one of them is too old to work, one of them has lost its teeth, one of them has a disease, one of them is no longer laying eggs. Okay, இவங்களை கூப்பிட்டு they create an orchestra. That orchestra is good enough to chase thieves away. So play whatever violin, whatever drum you have. உன்னுடைய இப்போ ஒரு காட்டுக்கு போனீங்கன்னா அவ்வளவு சாந்தமா அவ்வளவு என்ஜாய் பண்ண முடியற அளவுக்கு ஏன் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா, it is not the குயில் only that is singing. 200 different birds, each having a different sound. ஒரு கட்டத்தொண்டை, ஒரு மதுரமான ஸ்வரம் எல்லாம் சேர்ந்து ஆர்கெஸ்ட்ரா பண்றதுனால தான் we prefer that jungle and the silence and that calm and that beautiful orchestra of the jungle. So whatever you are skilled at, in however much you are, put it forward, bring it out அப்படிங்கிறது ரெண்டாவது. இந்த கதை உங்களுக்கு ஞாபகம் இருக்கும். Ant will be working and the grasshopper will be playing violin and winter வரும்போது ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்படுவான் அப்படின்னு. நான் இதுலேருந்து எடுத்துக்கிற அட்வைஸ் என்ன அப்படின்னா, இட்ஸ் நாட் as if the ant is smart and the grasshopper is idiot and all that. The ant loves order. சில பேர் நீங்கள் சண்டே எங்கே வெளில போகலாம் அப்படின்னு இருப்போம் நம்ம வீட்டில். சண்டே தான் எனக்கு டைம் கிடச்சிருக்கு, ஐ வாண்ட் டு செட் எவ்ரி திங் ஆல் ரைட், திஸ் இஸ் மை வெக்கேஷன் வாங்க சில பேர். ஐம் ஷுர், எஸ், ஐம் சீயிங் நாடிங் ஹெட்ஸ். அண்ட் தட் சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஆர்டர் இன்னைக்கு இந்த பானி வேர்ல்டில் கொஞ்சம் முக்கியம். And when I mean order, it's also about telling your manager, telling your colleague, telling your friends what time you're going to release something, what time some project report is going to be ready. And if it's not going to be ready, telling them well enough in advance that it's not going to be ready. 11:30 மணிக்கு நான் அந்த ரிப்போர்ட் கேட்டிருக்கேன்னா 11:28க்கு வந்து it will be available by 12 o'clock ன்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. The lead you give should be more than the lag. That is my formula. Kumar Vembu சொன்ன formula அது. That formula is very simple. What is the lead? 11:28க்கு தான் வந்து சொல்ல போறியா, 11:32க்குள்ள கொடுத்துடணும்னு அர்த்தம். The lead should be more than the lag. Such a simple, such a golden formula. We don't seem to really respect that. Every meeting, I was surprised we started on time here today, on a working day, on a busy day, so early in the day. That's amazing. That sense of order. And that brings us to the, I think, this is the last one I missed. A ton of gas, இல்லையா, வாய் எல்லாம் பேசலாம், பட் கடைசியில் இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன்ங்கிறது ஒன்று இருக்குது. An ounce of implementation is probably more important than a ton of hot air and gas. I am sure நம்ம ப்ரொஃபஷனோட ஒரு கர்ஸ்னே அதை சொல்லலாம். நிறைய பேசுவோம், வருஷம் ட்ரைனிங் கொடுப்போம், மாதம் அட்வைஸ் பண்ணுவோம், ப்ரீ பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் டாக் பண்ணுவோம், பிளேஸ்மெண்ட்டுக்கு அப்புறம் இண்டக்ஷன் பண்ணுவோம். டேய், வாட் இஸ் யுவர் கல்ச்சர் இஸ் நாட் வாட் யூ ஸ்பீக், இட் வாட் கோஸ் அன்ஸ்போக்கன் தட் இஸ் மோர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஷோ மீ, டெமான்ஸ்ட்ரேட் டு மீ, வாக் த டாக் அப்படிங்கிறது. அதான் அந்த பூனையை எல்லாரும் கேட்பாங்க. நான் லேசர் பீப் வச்சு ட்ராக் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஒன்று வச்சுருக்கேன்னு ஒரு எலி சொல்லும், இன்னொன்று வந்து நான் ஜிபிஎஸ் மணி ஒன்று கட்டி விட்டுடலான்னு பார்ப்பேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லும். கடைசியில் அதெல்லாம் சரிப்பா, பூனை இல்லை, யார் கட்டுறதும்பாங்க இல்லையா, who will build the cat. So implementation, even if it is roughshod, even if it is half-baked, prototype, demonstrate. ஒரு புது இனிஷியேட்டிவ் ஹெச்ஆர் பாலிசி ஒன்று கொண்டு போகிறோம்னா 25 பக்க டாக்குமெண்ட் முக்கியம் இல்லை, 4 பேர்கிட்ட அதை இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணோம், அதில் 3 பேர் they are voting for it, 1 person has asked for a small change, and I think hence we can roll it out to a larger group னு சொல்கிறோம் பாருங்க. That is the lesson I learned from this story. So இதுதான் அந்த புத்தகம். பட் நான் சொன்னதெல்லாம் நீங்கள் கேட்டிருந்தீங்கன்னா இந்த புக்கம் படித்தாலும் I think we will understand, இல்லையா, ஈசாப்போட குட்டி கதைகள் தான் எல்லாமே. And this is a timeless story. Thanks a lot for your time.
I think இதை விட ரத்ன சுருக்கமாக ஃபாரெவர் சில்க் ஸ்கில்ஸை சொல்ல முடியுமா அப்படின்னா I don't think so. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful kick-starting this conference with the 12 forever skills broken into broad 3 buckets. I'm definitely, this is a big takeaway for all the people sitting in this hall. Next, chief guest of the day, Mr. Simpson Emmanuel is the Managing Director of CEO of Roche Pharma India, an affiliate of Roche Global Pharmaceutical Leader. Mr. Simpson is the MBA in Marketing and Systems, a master's degree in Health Economics from the University of York, UK. He has over 20 years of senior management and leadership experience in pharmaceutical sector, such as Eli Lilly, MSD, and Roche. He is also a 2-time winner of Marketing Excellence Award instituted by Organization of Pharmaceutical Producers of India. So he is going to give us the chief cut address, and he is also agreed to be part of the panel in the immersive technology. So thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
First of all, good morning to everyone over here. It's going to be a tough act to follow, especially after such an inspiring speech. But thankfully, you don't have to listen to any formal presentation. I'm just going to share a couple of my thoughts. But before I kind of like start over there, I'll kind of do the necessary things. I think we also have to follow protocol, right? Because when I look at the people over here, the only unconventional person I see who is Mr. Rajendran. Not to say that he's unconventional, he's actually the more traditional of the lot. We were having a quick word of laughter about the jackets which we wear and as to how inappropriate sometimes our dressing would be, because we'll have to follow some kind of protocol. But when I heard about the 187 years of the Madras Chamber of Commerce, I was like thinking, okay, very, very traditional. You can't go in your jean. But I tried my black jean, so it kind of passes off as a formal thing. So we still try to typecast ourselves, and maybe we're not that bold sometimes. But yeah, that's how things are. But let me not kind of digress. First of all, let me thank the Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industry for inviting me for this occasion. I think they've done a phenomenal job in terms of boosting trade, commerce, economy, and especially in this part of the country, I would say that they are a true force to reckon with. And over the years, I would want to congratulate MCCI for their invaluable contributions which they have made to Tamil Nadu state as well as overall economy per se. Now, I'm actually excited. I've already kind of got deeply inspired by the first presentation that we have had. I think we are going to have more stimulating conversations as we go forward. It's surprising that it's not surprising. I have the wrong choice of words. I think it's about the IR Conclave is not generally where I am invited to. It's more about either business, commercials, and you usually talk about how did you grow by this percentage and so on and so forth, and what kind of innovation that you bring in. But just to kind of say that, yeah, we have been doing all of that, but at the end of the day, who are actually doing it is the people who are actually making it happen. It's not the robots. As of now, it's not the robots, but still people are relevant. So I think when we talk about staying ahead of the times, it is actually very, very apt. Especially in the era of volatility, we saw what happened during the pandemic. One thing is constant in life, and that is change. And now the question is, are you going to be relevant in the changing world? What you do right now, is it going to be relevant in future is going to be the key. And being a business leader, I think HR is going to be very, very important in making this change. Let me kind of like share a couple of examples. I just came back from a 3-day very intense meeting with my colleagues. In Roche, in India, we are trying a very, very different approach. We are not structured the way in which a traditional organization is structured. We don't have a head office. We work in what is called as a network. So typically, we had a very, very flashy office in Bombay, in Mumbai. Some of my, this thing will take offense if I say Bombay. So in Mumbai, we had this Bandra Kurla complex. We had a very lavish building, and it's called the Capitol Building, and we had a couple of floors over there. Anyone who comes in will say, wow, and we don't have that anymore. Because at one point of time, why do you want to work for Roche? Oh, they have a very good office. That used to be one of the comments which we used to receive during our, the GEO survey and the other Glint surveys that we conduct. And now, is that relevant in the current scheme of things? We saw that dramatically change during the pandemic, didn't we? And so it's like, as long as I'm able to kind of contribute, irrespective of where I am, became the mantra. So there's no point in trying to kind of get people into an office. So one of the things is like, I hear that all the IT companies had work from home and everyone is calling people back to work in the offices. At least in my organization, I have not done that. The first thing we said was, let's shut down the office. Our identity cannot be a building. right? It has to be the value that you add. You have to kind of long to work in this organization, irrespective of whichever building that you are in, and including your homes. So maybe I'm going to take a couple of more minutes and share. It's not in the script, so I'll share that. So when I took charge of the organization, I went and asked them, my people, so what's your next move? What do you want to do next? And you know, our main job is to kind of like make sure that our innovation reaches the patient in need, for which we need to be in touch with the patients and with the doctors. So I regard the sales force, I wouldn't call the sales force or the value adding team as the most important component of the organization. And for this, everyone has to be field based. So when I ask my people, what do you want to do? You know what they say? Well, at least what they said, I want to get promoted and come to the head office. Right? It was like, okay, fine. So head office, why head office? Beautiful building, so that went first. We knocked off the head office. So we went to a place where we have another division called diabetes care for Roche. We just took 40 seats from the 350 odd seats that we could accommodate. Just 40 seats, shared working, no one has a cabin including me, and that's about it. Come, hot desk, and you leave. Went back to them after 6 months and said, hey, what do you want to do? What's your next step in your career? They said, we want to go to the head office. I said, you don't have an office per se, but why do you want to go to the head office? Oh, the leadership team is over there. Right? Great. So I said that if the leadership team is over there, and I want people to value what they have in the field, but they still want to congregate to a place where the so-called power center is there. So I said, we took a dramatic decision, and we said, we'll have a distributed leadership organization, which means that I don't have my team based in the same location that I'm in. I spread across the team across the country, and we had 10 ecosystems which were created, and we distributed them. Surprisingly, came back and asked them again, informal chats, so what do you want to do? I want to get promoted and come to the head office again. And I was like now scratching my head. So I said, see, you don't have a flashy office. You don't have your bosses sitting in the office. Why do you want to come to the head office? They said, but you are there in head office. The managing director is at the head office. I said, that's an interesting problem to solve. So I took a very dramatic decision a year back. I said, I'm not going to be there in the so-called power centers of the country, which is the Mumbai and the Delhis, because that's where the pharmaceutical organization is congregated. And some of them are congregated in Bangalore as well. Other than these three, I should relocate. So I chose to relocate myself from Mumbai, and I'm now based in Chennai. Now when I go and ask them, do you want to come to Chennai? That's where your managing director or CEO is. They're saying, no, actually, we're doing a pretty good job. Where do you want to grow? I want to grow in the network. Okay. And it took so much of effort to reach that point. And when we say that, oh, you're empowered, you will grow and all that stuff, mere words are not going to cut it. You need to make some dramatic changes, and sometimes it's going to be very tough. And it was very tough on my family, let me tell you that. I am born, brought up in Chennai. I'm a Chennai boy. My parents were here, and my daughters were all born outside. For them coming from there and trying to learn and try to speak Tamil at home, they'll reply in English. And now I'm having fun. They don't have a choice. Tamil is mandatory. And they are talking in Tamil. What does it mean? So I'm enjoying myself. They are not enjoying themselves, but at least I'm saying that it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of courage to do some things, and that's when you would see the change. And coming back to the HR point of view, there were some stats which I want to share because coming from the health economics point of view, I love data. And I love the meaning which comes from that. World Economic Forum, in fact, states that in the next 5 years, 35% of the skills that we think are going to be relevant now are not going to be relevant at all. And in fact, they did a survey, which is that the Global Agenda Council on the Future of Software and Society. In fact, people expect artificial intelligence to be in the board of directors by 2026. That's a scary thought, right? Now, what's actually going to be relevant? The skills like creativity. I think we had a wonderful presentation. Creativity, complex problem solving, critical thinking, and cognitive flexibility is going to be very important. Sometimes I keep saying this in my organization. Everyone says, oh, you have to have an open mind and you do whatever you want. Sometimes I have to kind of put the guardrails and say, you know what, keep your mind open, but make sure that your brain doesn't fall out. Because it's like sometimes people also can go to the extreme, and as a leader, you'll have to kind of put some guardrails. I kind of don't want to take too much of time, but I'll leave this. You know, what's the biggest challenge that I'm facing at this point of time? It's not about growth. See, India is a land of opportunities. We kind of like have enough people who can benefit with the innovation, and if you have the right business model, all of that is fine, but it's the people. My team, again, we went ahead with a very unconventional view. We said that we will not recruit people, my entire leadership team, 80% of them are from non-pharmaceutical background. They are from other industries because we wanted to get that unique skill sets. But there's also a disadvantage of you doing that because they are all alphas. They are not a bunch of yes men or yes women, right? They just don't agree to whatever you say. And traditionally, you have a hierarchical system and they will still listen to their boss. But between the peers, it's a big challenge to build the culture. And I think as a HR professional, it is the challenge right now, how to bring the right kind of people together. I just had a 3-day meeting with my team in Hyderabad. My closing comment was this: you're all a bunch of superstars. But we are not a star team as yet. Becoming a star team is not going to happen without any effort, and it's not a kind of luck that you would go into. It's going to be very critical that you consciously work on it. And these are some of my thoughts, and I actually like that specialization thing, right? I mean, people used to specialize on various things and they got so niched, and suddenly if that technology changes or that part changes, it becomes irrelevant. So I end with a joke which we have in the pharma sector when I was in the field, because I grew up from the field and I've taken this particular position right now. I used to meet orthopedicians for one of my this thing. At that point of time, orthopedician is an orthopedician, right? I mean, anything with respect to the bones and this thing. And suddenly I started saying that there is, in orthopedician, there are specializations which are coming up. And there was one category where there were hand surgeons. Great. And when I traveled in some places, they also started having finger. They just concentrate on the finger. The hand is a very big thing for them. It's gone down to the finger level. As colleagues, we were just joking. I just don't want them to subspecialize into the thumb, and you know what all will happen when it comes to the other fingers. It will be really embarrassing for some people. If they say that I am this finger surgeon, then what is going to happen? So it's like, but that maybe it can pass off as a joke, but now in this scheme of things, in this world that we live in, you need to have the adaptability to kind of like flex. And when we call agility, agility is like is a very badly used word right now. People have no idea what agility is. How do you adapt? How do you stay relevant for the future? And that's what we had a wonderful talk which was given as well. And maybe I'll leave you with the thoughts and maybe share some more during the panel discussion as well. Thank you.
Thank you so very much to both our speakers. Special address by Mr. D. Rajendran and chief guest address by Mr. Simpson Emmanuel. I think one thing is very clear. We don't want to get into the right eye and left eye specialist, but have more skills and get into the world and be future ready. I think that is exactly the theme of the conference as well. And as Mr. Rajendran said, probably we also have to go back to our basics and make it relevant for today, which is very much possible as he had brought to the fore, even from the ease of tables and stories. Thank you so very much. I would request Mr. Shyam Sundar to present a small memento to our guests for the day, and then invite Professor Sridhar to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you very much again. Request Professor Sridhar to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning to all. The two erudite leaders have spoken out their heart, and for a change, I would like to propose a vote of the thanks in the way saying from bottoms up. I would like to thank first the MCCI team for giving us an opportunity to work with us and conduct a conference. Ms. Saraswati, Mr. Shankar, Narayanan, you name the entire MCCI team. Because without them, we cannot conglomerate every year like this with different leaders, different thought process. And this gives a big opportunity for network, not only networking, learning and sharing. So I thank the MCCI team first for keeping us an opportunity to serve the society through the chamber. And then Mr. Shyam, the president of, the chairman of the committee, who has been behind everybody to be on toes and be agile towards the changes, what happens every minute or a second till the inauguration of the conference. And thank Rajendran for giving such a, and I'm amazed with the way in which he, whenever you see him talk, he comes out with new thoughts, though the ideas have been old enough for generations, but it gives a different perspective to audience and to ponder always. And what more we should have during the T20 world, we had a 6 sixers from his talk. That is my way of thanks to Mr. Rajendran for bringing this initiative. And then Simpson, though he's my good friend, I can say that we have been ex-colleagues earlier, but thanks to your support for taking up this chief guest position. And in spite of his schedule, because I know we were yesterday till in a meeting at 12 o'clock in the midnight yesterday, and still he was able to come in the morning and take it up. Special thanks to you, Simpson, for this. And admire his leadership because, as he said, he has come from the bottoms up to the leadership level. And the number of changes, what he spoke, is never seen in the industry now. It's a trend setter, that too during the COVID times when nobody was aware of the things. And whatever he spoke is an example for any industry to handle the change. And thanks for bringing up this thought as also to the audience. And I would request each one of you to take inputs from this, share your thoughts and spread this message of our conference. And I'm sure this will be leading to a good learning experience for next 2 days. Thanks to each one of you for participating and coming in time for this inaugural, and thanks to your organizations for sponsoring this, because they're also supporting you to be the change what you want to look in. Thanks to one and all.